Well, there's the news that we were all waiting on when it comes to North Carolina, the Tar Heels, and Hubert Davis. That is what leads the show on this Hump Day edition of Wire to Wire. Welcome into the show on this Wednesday afternoon. He's Diesel live at Ingalls and Powdersville on Anderson Road. I'm Cole Bryson back in the Ingalls Market Studios, and a big show, Diesel, but we start with Hubert Davis. The biggest news today, it broke late last night, and Hubert Davis officially out as head coach after a 125-54 overall record, 68-30 in the ACC. Complacency kicking in for the Tar Heels. I know it's a program you don't have any love lost for, Diesel. Your instant reaction to Hubert Davis was?
A little bit premature for the Tar Heels, but I'm not really surprised, right? I mean, they are a twitchy fan base. They expect to win. So I thought, given the level of success he's had over his 5 seasons, the fact that he's gotten them to 4 NCAA tournaments in that time, I thought that might save him for like one more year, kind of light the fire under his rear end and say, Hubert, you better get it right this year. If you don't, your ass is grass and we're the lawnmowers. But they made that decision. Cole, I'm sure in no small part fueled by the fact that Duke is still in this thing and looks like a favorite to win it all.
They do look like a favorite to win it all. And you know what is interesting, Diesel? I heard a quote from a coach. It was an anonymous coach, but this quote, I think, summed it up. If this ever got back to North Carolina, this might be the reason North Carolina did pull the plug, Diesel. But the quote was from an ACC coach, we really hate to see, and I'm paraphrasing, we really hate to see that North Carolina is letting go or firing Hubert Davis and going out and potentially getting a really, really good coach. Nobody in the ACC was scared of Hubert Davis. And I think when I heard that quote, Diesel, that is kind of what sums it up. Was Hubert Davis as a head coach? And Tolos, we want to hear from you. 844-326-3663. Also on the stream, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can watch the show. Was he feared, Diesel? Do we feel like Hubert Davis was one of the elites that was feared across college basketball?
No, I think if you probably tiered this thing out as elite best of the best coaches, and there's only, about 5 or 6 of those in college basketball, he's not quite in that tier. But in the tier of really good coaches, I put him near the top.
Not elite, though.
Not elite. I would not call Hubert Davis elite. And that's the standard at North Carolina. Elite is the standard. And if you are not elite, they will get rid of you and move on. What I find fascinating about this process so far, Cole, and we're going to get deeper and deeper into this, and I have no doubt that North Carolina will hire somebody with an impressive resume. North Carolina's decision to make this move kind of echoes, in a way, Penn State's move, right? They made the decision early last year to move on from James Franklin, and it took them forever to get a new coach in place. And it kind of feels like that's where we are with North Carolina. They moved on without a clear succession plan in place, because from what we're hearing so far, a lot of the guys that they would be targeting are telling them no, or they're getting new contracts where they are.
And it's interesting. I think on that front, it is interesting to know if they've done their, due diligence, Diesel, because I think a good program has already done enough backdoor channeling that they've got an idea for who they want, right? Maybe they do. Maybe we don't know who they've talked to. But I will say this. You said a minute ago that Hubert Davis is not, in your opinion, among the elites. I think the problem is North Carolina sees that in this new modern era of college basketball, Diesel, you can erase mistakes pretty quickly. And I think when you look at what Hubert Davis did, especially recruiting mistakes, not saying he wasn't a good recruiter, but I think when you look at the totality of this from a Hubert Davis standpoint, Diesel, North Carolina knows that, hey, we can wipe away these recruiting mistakes or misses pretty quickly in this new era with the portal. in NIL, and we're not rebounding. We're not rebounding the way we would like to, and I don't think they saw enough from Hubert Davis. Now, the 19-point lead that they blew, did that have something to do with it? I bet you it did, right? 19-point lead in the first round over VCU without, I get, didn't have Caleb, I get it. But still, Diesel, 19-point lead. There's no way that didn't have something to do with it.
That's the classic phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. If they don't lose that game, if they hold on, win by 2, they go off into the second round, face whoever it was they were going to face. Even if they lose in the round of 32, I think Hubert Davis is probably still employed as a North Carolina basketball coach today. But, I know VCU is a respectable program. There are plenty of respectable mid-majors out there that find themselves in this thing every year. Losing to St. Mary's, there's no shame in losing to the Gale. Losing to, Wichita State back in the day, there was no shame in losing to Wichita State unless you're North Carolina or Duke or Kentucky or UConn, the Blue Bloods who should not be losing those kinds of basketball games.
Hubert Davis was 125-54 at North Carolina. That is a winning percentage of .698. Hubert Davis Diesel had a record in the ACC of 68-30. In 2021, 2022, he was 29-10, national runner-up. 2023, 2024, 29-8, ACC regular season champions, Sweet 16, ACC Coach of the Year. So if you just look, Diesel, at Hubert Davis's first 2 seasons, you think, man, North Carolina's got a good one. North Carolina capped it in-house. They did it the North Carolina way, and North Carolina's got their guy. Boy, it's hard to replace Roy Williams, right? But we got our guy. First-year national runner-up, second-year ACC regular season, Sweet 16, ACC Coach of the Year. And then guess what? You look at not only that, Diesel, he was the first coach in ACC history to win 20-plus games in his first 5 seasons. Oh, and then, by the way, he beat Coach K in his final home game and then went to the Final Four in 2022. So, to that point, we all felt like North Carolina might be right where they were. They might have the best coach of the game. But, boy, did things change quickly when they missed the tournament in 2023, Diesel. They rebounded in 2024 and made the Sweet 16. But a Sweet 16 isn't enough for North Carolina because the next year, 2025, round of 64. 2026, round of 64. So North Carolina has basically said to the country, to the media, and the future coaches, getting to the Sweet 16 1 out of every 4 years, that ain't cutting it at North Carolina. And now the new coach knows what the guidelines are, Diesel.
Hey, could they maybe bring Michael Jordan back to coach the team? Because he's doing real well in NASCAR, winning.
I think he stay in NASCAR.
People who win no matter where they go. It's fascinating, Cole. You talked about staying within that North Carolina family, and that's the way they've done things for a very, very long time. The problem is that the stack of resumes that have UNC ties is very thin, and the ones that are on that stack of resume haven't necessarily had a tremendous amount of success where they've gone. You got Jerry Stackhouse, who was iffy at Vanderbilt. You got, Mark May, I think, Wes Miller, who struggled at Cincinnati, just took the job at Charlotte. I mean, he's obviously not somebody you're going to throw that kind of money to. They're just, if you own a Porsche, there's just certain people you don't hand the keys to. And right now, Wes Miller is not one of those guys. Maybe if he proves it at Charlotte down the road, possibly. Hopefully, if you're North Carolina, you don't have to go that route. But otherwise, you got Sean May, who is an assistant who has no head coaching experience. Brad Frederick, who is a UNC assistant, who has no head coaching experience. Those are not the guys that you go to. If those are your best options, you just stay with Hubert Davis. You don't make that decision. Cole, I'm almost 99.9% sure at this point that North Carolina will go outside a house, which is an odd thing for North Carolina to do.
Blake on the YouTube stream says Tyler Hansborough, JK, LOL. Look, I think there is a strong case to be made that, look, at some point you do have to go outside of the North Carolina ties. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll get to the phone lines in just a second. Hubert Davis said in a statement, Diesel, this opportunity has truly been a blessing. I thank Jesus literally every day for giving me the opportunity, relationships, and experiences with the kids and my staff. I am very proud of what we were able to accomplish together. My goal is to coach again in the very near future. Now, Hubert Davis has nearly $5.3 million of guaranteed money left on his deal. The university said in a statement it would honor the terms of his contract, so he's going to be a very well taken care of man, right? The decision to fire Davis, Diesel, came from a recommendation from current athletic director Bubba Cunningham and executive associate athletic director Steve Newmark, who will take over the AD role on July 1. That recommendation was accepted, Diesel, from the AD by Chancellor Lee Roberts on Tuesday. And before we get to the phone lines, let me just throw something wild and crazy out there. Everybody out there that I've heard in the last 12 hours is saying, well, North Carolina is going to get the right guy. It's North Carolina. They're going to get the right guy. They're going to be they're going to be in good hands, like the old insurance commercial, right? They're going to be A-okay. They're going to go get the best of the best. Is this the same AD that hired Bill Belichick? Is this the same administration that hired Bill Belichick?
Wow.
So are we sure? Are we sure, Diesel, that North Carolina's new? What have we talked about for the past 2 days on this show? Administration. Are we sure that this administration is going to get this thing right? I don't know. I'm not so sure. Bill Belichick's the coach, and look how that's going.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, to me, the Bill Belichick hire was always just an attention grab, and that's kind of North Carolina's style. For the most part, though, when it comes to attention grabbing hires, they've been able to kill both of those birds with one stone. They've been able to stay in house and get somebody who's an attention grabber. But like I said before, there's not that many guys out there with North Carolina ties and with elite head coaching experience. So they're going to have to go outside, whether it's throwing a tremendous amount of money at Dusty May at Michigan or TJ Otzelberger at Iowa State. We've already heard that Todd Golden not interested in the job. Let me rephrase that. Todd Golden has been given an extension and a raise
and the buyout.
Florida. And also Brad Stevens from the Boston Celtics has already told him no. He would have been a grand slam hire. And think about that, Cole. You would have two elite professional coaches, Bill Belichick and Brad Stevens, there on campus in North Carolina. Feels like a match made in heaven, right? But Brad has already said, no, I'm going to stay here in Boston.
Well, that was a clutch, a grab at your pearls, I guess, right? Like that was.
Try.
Yeah, you got to try. That was never going to happen. And I think there's a lot of good candidates out there, though. Let's go to the phone lines. 844-326-3663. Tolo's phone lines are open. Want to hear your thoughts on the latest with Hubert Davis. You can also get a text in on the Joy Law Firm text line, 844-326-3663. Jersey Joe on the Facebook stream says, bring Jay Wright out of retirement. Blake Hammett says Bill Self is actually leaving Kansas to come to North Carolina like Roy Williams did. That would be interesting, right? Let's go to Rick and Greer. What's up, Rick?
They've already have somebody that get to North Carolina. You know who that is?
Who's that?
Brad Doran, coach. You hadn't heard his name, had you?
Who did you say, Rick?
Brad Doran.
Brad Doran?
Played in North Carolina. He coached at San Antonio with the San Antonio Spurs. He's got coaching experience.
Brad Doherty.
Are you talking about El Gato Grande? Brad Doherty? Big Train? Brad Doherty?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. Where are you seeing this, Rick?
Watch this see if Brad Doherty ain't one of the bigger names to back up. I've heard that he coached with San Antonio for years. Then he was a North Carolina assistant 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Isn't he? Yeah.
So are you just predicting, Rick, or are you telling us you've actually heard it from reputable sources? Bathroom walls don't count.
Yeah, okay. Rick, not going to happen.
Reputable source.
Not gonna happen. He's got his hands in too many things. I think he's got NASCAR, car dealership, all kind of.
He's got NASCAR and car dealerships, but that's one job he will. I mean, he's a good coach too. He coached it. So, like I say, he was the assistant coach for San Antonio Spurs.
Okay. I like the prediction, Rick.
Good
Appreciate
call, Rick.
the phone call.
Appreciate you.
844-326-3663. I think it's interesting. I think this is one of those jobs that you do look at with reverence. Obviously, Diesel, with it being North Carolina. But you know what I also think? While we look at this job with great reverence, I also think in this new landscape, it's another job. I know that sounds crazy, but it's another job. It's a job where, with the right resources, you can win at a high level. I'm not saying it's not a good job. Don't hear me say that, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of good jobs out there. I don't know that North Carolina's the premier job anymore, and that might upset North Carolina fans, but I don't know that it's the premier job anymore, Diesel.
Brand is fallen, says Cole Bryce. I mean, look, you can bring just about anybody up to national prominence if you got the right amount of cash. You know, years ago, 20 years ago, that was nearly impossible. You weren't going to bring Iowa State. You weren't going to bring Texas Tech
or
to the
Arkansas.
Final Four. You weren't going to bring Arkansas there. But if you got the right coach and you got big-time donors, and North Carolina does, they got very, very deep pockets, it would take a financial analyst, Cole, with more intel than we have to be able to look across the landscape and say, these 3 or 4 schools have the most amount of money, and North Carolina is one of them. It would take that kind of financial commitment. And I have no doubt that North Carolina and its fan base and its very wealthy alumni are willing to make it. But then again, how far do they have to go down their list if they've already had to go through 2 that have told them essentially no or been locked up where they are? I mean, are they going to be getting their 3rd, 4th, 5th choice here? That's not a great place to be. That doesn't tell me that the brand is in really a healthy place.
Well, I mean, go back to St. John's in Arkansas for a second. 5 years ago, would you have said St. John's is a better job than UNC? No. Would you have said Arkansas? Arkansas? Are you kidding me?
They got all that
Razorbacks?
chicken money, man. They got all that Walmart money down there.
That's what I'm saying. To your point, you just said it. Resources, man. Resources. I'm not saying North Carolina has resources. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm just saying you talk about Bill Self, right? Like in the rumors about, the retirement and him coming out and saying, well, those aren't official yet. And then you talk about, coaches like Jay Wright, who I think one of the Tolos said, bring Jay Wright out of retirement. There are coaches that look at jobs across the country now with, I think, more equal playing field is all I'm getting at, Diesel, because you can get resources at more places than you used to. It's not the few finite teams and programs that run college basketball anymore.
Hey, Tolos, baseball is back. Major League Baseball opening night is tonight. Aaron Judge and the Yankees face Rafael Devers and the San Francisco Giants. It's Yankees-Giants live on Netflix tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We are live here at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont at an Ingles location. I've got an Ingles gift card for you right here. Be the first Tolo to walk in and shake my hand and say the word Tolo, and I'll hook you up right here, right now on the spot. This baby is worth $25, Cole. It's a hot ticket item. You want it? Come by and see us. 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. When we come back, Cole, I want to set us up for, now I know you're not a movie guy, and I know that you're not a Star Trek guy, but have you ever heard of the concept of a Kobayashi Maru?
No.
It's an impossible task. It cannot be completed by design. It's made for you to fail at it. And I have every faith, Cole, that we are going to fail in the minds and the eyes of our Tolos, because I want to reseed 1 through 16 the teams left in the NCAA tournament. We're going to reseed 1 to 16. I have no doubt that we're going to anger the Tolos in a tremendous way. We'll get to that next. In the best possible way, Cole, we have a log jam of a bunch of really good teams left in the NCAA tournament. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson back at the network studios. I'm Diesel, live here at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. Still, I can't believe it, Cole. It's been 5 minutes and nobody has come by to claim this $25 Ingles gift card. Come by and see me and walk up, shake my hand, say Tolo, and you will score this $25 gift card. That would be an awesome thing to take home, Cole. It's not going to buy you. It's not going to buy you a buggy full of groceries anymore. But hey, $25 is $25. That's a great gift, don't you think?
No doubt, dinner as well. I mean,
Yeah.
You can get dinner probably for 2, maybe 3. Ingles, I eat lunch a lot at my local Ingles, and $25. I'll take it. I'll come. I'll be there in 25 minutes.
I mean, I'm looking over here at the deli here at Ingles, and the sign that is standing right out to me. $3 a slice for pizza, or 2 slices for $5. That's their lunch combo, and so you can come by and get you a whole lot of pizza, or you can just take a whole pizza home. What they do here at Ingles really is fantastic. We'll tell you more about that as we get through the show here, Cole. But this is really tough. You've heard in years past they talk about re-ranking, and some of them have even considered actually, literally re-ranking these teams, reseeding these teams once we get deeper into playoff pictures. But how do we do that for these 16 teams that remain? We've got we've got a whole bunch of blue bloods in here, and then a whole bunch of really elite teams that are coming up kind of, out of that ether, that 25 to 75 range of programs that are just playing really, really good basketball. It's hard. It's really hard to figure out how to re-rank, reseed the 16 teams, Cole. Let's start here. Let's just rip the Band-Aid right off. Who, right now, given what you've seen of them during the tournament thus far, is your number 1 overall seed among the 16 teams left? Is it Arizona, and that's an absolute lock, or could I get you to argue for somebody else?
No, I can't argue for anybody else. Look, Tommy Lloyd's just done a tremendous job, and Arizona is the team I wish I would have picked in my bracket to win it all. I picked Duke, and Duke's still in it, but man, this is an Arizona team that's just so good. They look like the most complete team. They've been the best team in basketball all season. And what they do, like you can go find better players, Darius Acuff, that's going to be a fun matchup. But I just think there's NBA dudes all over this roster, and they're a deep team. They're well coached, like I said, Diesel, and they're a winning team. They've lost 2 games all season long, and Braden Burries, he leads that team, and I just don't see a more complete team. Now, we're splitting hairs because all these teams are very good, but I don't see a more complete team than I do when I look at Arizona.
Yeah, it's hard to honestly to find one. I mean, if I'm Arizona, now this is a reseeding based on how good we are, not what we think their likelihood is to advance, because by God, do they have a tough road ahead. They got to beat John Calipari in Arkansas, and then they either face a Purdue team that has turned themselves into a blue blood over the past 5 seasons, or they got to face a Texas team that may not be quite as talented as the other teams left in this thing. But Cole, they would be believing at that point. If Texas came all the way from an 11 seed play-in, beat BYU, beat Gonzaga, beat Purdue, are you telling me you wouldn't be a little bit nervous if you're Arizona looking at Texas on the other side?
Well, the confidence certainly matters, right? And what they've done, the run, and we talked about it a couple of days ago. Confidence doesn't win you basketball games, but it certainly helps.
Sure
it certainly helps. And if Texas were to do that, yeah, I would be concerned. But I just look at them right now and think, man, they're the most complete team left in the tournament. Now, it's a close second, but I think Arizona's won.
Top 5 nationally in both offensive and defensive efficiency. They are an insanely dominant team, rebounding 38% offensive rebound rate, which means they get a second chance shot 4 out of 10 times they put the ball up and it doesn't go in. Oh, and by the way, they've just got Jaden Bradley, Koa Pete, Braden Burries, and Ivan Karchinov. These guys are insanely talented, Cole. I really think they are the best team left in this thing. I don't give them the best chance to advance all the way to the finals and win this thing because it is a tough road ahead. But I like Arizona there for the number 1 spot. And here's where it gets tough. Here's where we're gonna start upsetting some people, because Arizona, you're right, kind of feels like a lot. Kind of feels like, a lot of people would go Arizona. But Michigan, UConn, Duke, maybe Purdue. Who do you like for the second best team, the second seed of the teams that are left?
Duke. Duke's the best, the second best in my opinion. And like I said a minute ago, I think it's a close second. I just think with what they do defensively, we know what the players or who the players are on this Duke basketball team that make them good. We know how good Boozer is. We've talked about him. But I'm telling you, what they do defensively, what John Shire Diesel has done this year when losing guys and being able to kind of plug and replace, I've just been so blown away. His system, it's a great system. He's done an exceptional job. Yes, he's got talented players, but defensively, I think that's where they make the difference. I think they're an elite defensive unit. And look, we talk about it in football all the time. Defense wins championships. I think in basketball, there's still truth to that. I think defensively, Duke's elite, and that's why they're second for me if I had to reseed these.
Well, here's where we're going to differ. I like Duke a lot. I've got Duke slotted in as my 3 seed for who's left. I've got Michigan in there at number 2. Michigan right now is the number 1 odds-on favorite to win it all on BetMGM. They have 3 gigantic players on offense: Yaxel Limthorpe, Perez Johnson, and Ade Mara. They are 4th nationally in pace of play, Cole, number 2 defense in the country. So they got the defense too, but they play fast. And I love any team that plays fast in this time of the season because, guys' legs are getting a little bit tired. Yeah, they've had a couple of days off after that round of 32. But, you start to get a little bit worn out playing the best of the best night in and night out. Give me Michigan as the number 2 seed from my bracket. I've got Duke at number 3 now. To your point, Duke, they just got Malik Brown back. He is cleared to play for the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's big. I flip-flop your 2 and 3. That's where mine is. I have Michigan at 3. And everything you said I agree with. They've only lost twice since January 15th. Think about that. January 15th was a good while ago. They've only lost twice. And by the way, both of those games were on neutral courts against teams that, by the way, are still alive as the top 2 seeds in the tournament, Duke and Purdue, or as top seeds rather. So they have been on a tear. They've been as good almost all year long as Arizona, a very good basketball team. And you look at what they've done, the statistics, the record, and their success in the postseason speaks for itself. So it's a close 2-3, but I like Michigan at 3.
Tolos, want to hear some chatter from you. What do you think? How would you reseed the team, the 16 team still in the NCAA tournament? Jump over on the stream on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Just search for the Fan Upstate. Outlaw Sports Network 1 is in there. Scotty from BMW, Joe Lysick, Blake Hammett. These guys are all in there.
Jersey Joe.
And want to see you guys chatting it up with them. Now, we got a text here from Coop in Greer. He says, damn right, they'd be shivering in their boots, says Coop in Greer. I assume he's talking about Arizona?
Texas. Texas. He's talking about if Texas were, Arizona if Texas were to go on and win one more, right?
They wear boots in Arizona too, right? They're not riding around on the plains in sneakers, are they?
No. I think they wear boots.
Tolo J. Butane says, I don't think Arizona hears the gun go off versus Arkansas. Whoa. You heard it here first. Arkansas by 15. Wow. Now,
is that the gun that they shoot at a track meet, or is that the gun that the guy with no arms and no legs shot in the car yesterday? Which one? Which gun, Tolo J. Butane?
Either way, it's impressive. If you don't know what we're talking about yesterday, we shared the story of the professional cornhole player. Plays on the Johnsonville Brats Pro Cornhole League, whatever.
Played, played.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll let him toss around the corn bags in prison, but he was arrested on murder charges, Cole. Somehow he was driving a car with no arms and no legs and managed to shoot somebody and managed to dump the body out on a lawn somewhere.
All with no arms and no legs. Yeah. How'd they cuff the guy, by the way? Did we ever figure that out? No, I'm being serious. How do you cuff him?
Just tie a rope around his stump.
If he doesn't have arms or legs, how do you cuff the guy? Come on. It's a legitimate question. I'm not trying to be funny jokes on this show.
What's going on this station? The last show, they were talking about pasties for some reason. Now we're talking about how do you put
I'm just asking. I had a lot of questions, like I said yesterday.
Cole, 4 seed right now. Again, this is splitting hairs, the tiniest, or the finest frog hairs you can find. UConn number 4 on my list. They've had back-to-back epic performances from 2 different guys. Terrace Reed Jr. against Furman. Sorry, Furman fans. Followed up by Alex Caravan against UCLA. They are the number 2 most efficient offense in the country. They don't let teams really crash on them very much when they play that 5-out scheme. What that means is they get all 5 guys playing outside of the 3-point line, and then they crash. They try to slash. And that's a tough thing to defend, especially when you got the athletes that UConn has. I just wonder, Cole, they fell short in the Big East tournament. They fell short in the regular season race in their conference. I wonder if they've already peaked at this point, and if it's going to be one of those type teams that has to search for a hero on a night-in, night-out basis.
I'm torn on UConn.
Yeah,
I'm torn on them. Terrace Reed Jr. was great, but Diesel, I don't know where I am on UConn. I mean, I love what Furman did against them. But if Furman did what they did, can other teams not? I think UConn's the one team where I'm torn the most. I don't know. Are they super talented? Yeah, they're super talented. Injuries matter too, but Diesel, I just don't know. Convince me. Help me, lead me somewhere on UConn. Maybe they are. You have them at what, 4?
I got them at 4. Yeah, because it's really hard. Who do you put above them? Do you move Purdue up? Do you elevate Houston or St. John's? I don't know. I don't know that I can put any of those guys above UConn.
I think I put St. John. I think I could.
I mean, they beat the tar out of Mick Cronin and UCLA, right? I mean, they absolutely pantsed them. In a tournament game, beating them by 16 points is an absolute blowout.
I know, but man, like I look at what they did in the last round, and again, I'm so guilty of recency bias, right? I'm so guilty of recency bias. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm torn. I'm not going to put them at 4. I'm going to put them at 5, maybe 6. I like St. John's a lot.
Okay.
I do. I like Arkansas a lot. I just don't know where I put UConn either.
Tolos, what do you think? How would you seed the 16 teams left in this thing? Who is your number 1 seed? We got Arizona. Really, the question is, who is your 2, 3, 4, 5 seeds? You can text those in at 844-326-3663. I'm live here at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. Cold back in the network studios. $25 gift card if you walk up into this building. Shake my hand and say, Tolo, I'll get you hooked up with maybe that's free dinner for you and the family tonight, right? The prices here are absolutely phenomenal. You could take home an 8-piece bucket of chicken or some tenders or some wings or whatever, and I guarantee you this $25 is going to go a long way because the prices are so great here at your local Ingles Markets. Cole, at number 5, and this is where it gets. It's not where it gets tough. It just keeps on being tough, right? I've got my number 5 seed. I got Purdue in this thing slotted at my number 5 because I love the way Purdue was able to just pull away from Miami in the second half of that game. I mean, they were point for point, stride for stride with them. I think it was a 2-point game at halftime, and then Purdue found a way to kind of shut Miami down defensively. They're shooting the ball well right now, even though they don't shoot a ton of threes. I can't put Purdue any higher than this, Cole, because if they face an elite 3-point shooting team, I'm not sure that they can keep pace.
You know what, man? Purdue, I was looking at Purdue last night. There was a stretch where I thought Purdue kind of faltered during the regular season, but then Diesel, right at the end, guess what they did? They surged right back, and they looked like I was kind of out on Purdue, and at the very last minute, like Shane Barrett says on the stream, they look good. They look really good. So they've kind of turned me both ways this season. At one point, maybe right after Christmas, I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was a little iffy on them. But now I'm kind of like, oh my, this Purdue team looks like they can compete with anybody. And this is where you said a minute ago, this is where it's hard for me. I could have Purdue at 3, but I could also argue Purdue at 4 or 5. It is very, very tough where we are right now.
I mean, you might be able to argue them at 9 with this stack lineup, right? It's really hard to do. It really is. Cole, number 6 on my list, and yeah, I mean Purdue. if they get into a situation where they got to trade twos for threes, they're in trouble. But like I said, they don't shoot a ton of threes, but they hit them, and they hit timely three-point shots. They just got this clutch gene about them that I love about Purdue. Let's go to number 6 slot, Cole. I've got Houston slotted in here right now. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in this tournament. 19 in their second-round dominant win over Texas. 7th straight Sweet 16 under Kelvin Sampson. He's a guy that gets him into this position time in and time out. He's been here so many times. None of these moments are going to shake Kelvin Sampson, and they're only giving up 62 points a game this season. Houston, I mean, it's how do you rank all these teams based on what defense they play when they all play phenomenal defense?
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. I like Houston. You've heard me talk about Kelvin Sampson a lot as well. I just think that when you talk about a guy that's almost, and I know this doesn't have any metrics or logic behind it, I feel like Kelvin Sampson's one of those that's just due every year. And I know he's had success before. But you just can't count that guy out easily. He's a really good coach, and I think he could be up there pretty much anywhere he wanted to be in terms of what'd you have him at?
6.
6? Yeah, I mean Kelvin Sampson. It's incredibly tough. It really is.
I mean, does North Carolina have enough money to go hire Kelvin Sampson? Right. I mean, he gets him to this spot.
Be a great hire. Be a great hire.
How old is Kelvin Sampson?
But then again, why would you leave Houston? Right? Why would you leave Houston? They've got it going on down there.
Getting out of a Ferrari and climbing into a Maserati. You know,
he is 70. He's 70. So do you hire a 70-year-old coach? You know, that's the question, right?
You get maybe 4 or 5 years out of him. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Kelvin, Kelvin could win the whole thing and say, all right, guys, I'm done. You know, I can't do any more here. This has been a great ride. But you're right. If he was 60 years old, if I'm North Carolina, I throw every single dollar I can at him. But at 70, iffy. But I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him. Here we go, Cole, all the way to before we do that, let's get to our phone lines at 844-326-3663. We got Kev in. Yeah,
well, hey, let's see. Kev, can we hold you through we got to hit a break, Kev. Okay. Can we hold you through the other side, Kev, in Inman? Is that okay? All right, perfect. We got to get to a break, but we'll come back to Kev, and we can wrap these up on the other side.
We'll do it right here on the Fan Up Stage.
win upstate.
Well, we're going to continue through the reseeding of the top 16 teams, the Sweet 16, if you will, as we are 1 day away from the Sweet 16. But let's go to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. Kev wants to weigh in. What's up, Kev?
Man, what's going on, my guy?
Hope you are fantastic. And I know you being a Tar Heel fan, you might have a thought or two, right?
Yeah, I got a whole big thought. We shouldn't know how to do it in the first place.
Come on, he took you to 4 tournaments, Kev. You can't be that down on him.
He took Roy's guys. We went to where we went to, and when it really became his boys, we ain't did nothing else since but let teams come back after something.
Who do you go get?
Me, myself, I want to go, and he only an hour up the road, bro. Go up there and get Flynn up there at High Point and bring him down the road.
Wow.
Okay.
You want the High Point guy?
Yeah, man. I like his fiery. I like what he bring, man. And man, you know, his fiery plus the loudness of that gym, man, listen, man, we'll be back on here in a little bit. If he can get North Carolina boys to play how he getting them High Point boys to play up at a high level, man, we'll be back on it.
Just have him bring the whole team.
All these boys. Say what?
Just have him bring the whole team with him.
Bring just like old buddy did from James Madison.
Yeah, I mean, they went farther than you did. Why not? Why not go with his players?
Listen, man, let's go. Let's go and get this going together.
I love it.
Florida gonna cost too much. Nate Owens, it might be a good hire, but at the same time, he got a good thing going to Alabama, so they're gonna give him some more money if they ain't gave him a lot already. So just start with a new guy you can go get right now.
Yeah. Kev, I like it, man. Best of luck to you guys, and hopefully it's the right guy.
You got that right, man. We got to have it back.
No doubt. Kev, thanks for the call, man.
Yep.
844-326-3663. Love, Kev. We'll continue to dive into that later in the show as well. North Carolina, obviously, Hubert Davis, the big news today. He is out at North Carolina. Diesel, the remaining, where did you leave off? With Houston, is that right?
We did leave off with Houston. And by the way, congratulations to Brian Pettit. He scored that $25 Ingles gift card. So he is, I don't know how he's going to spend it. I told him to spend it on the wife, make the wife happy. Bring home some flowers. I gave him the same advice that I gave to Corn Chip. Bring home flowers. It really doesn't even matter what flowers you bring. Just the fact that you thought.
I like it.
It's $4 bouquet of flowers. They got it going on here in England. Pretty bouquet of flowers. It doesn't have to be a big gesture, just a little. I'm telling you, it's the best way to keep the wife happy. $4.
$4. That's a good deal.
Cole,
don't tell her you only spent $4.
Yeah. Take the label off. Take the label off before you bring it home. Hey, add a $3 base to that all of a sudden becomes a $20 bouquet.
There you go.
How about St. John's, Cole? I got St. John's, your favorite team left in this thing, at number 7. It feels like blasphemy to have St. John's and Rick Pitino that low on this thing. They're scoring a ton of points. Zubi Ejiofor is an absolute beast, a nearly perfect player. But they're pulling this off of the who's who of transfer portal guys. But have they really been tested? They gave up 39 points in the second half to Kansas. That gives me a tiny bit of concern.
Yeah, could be. I like Rick Pitino's coaching job. Will that be enough? That's my question. Can he be the X factor?
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, again, at this point, we're looking for cracks in the dam, right? It's hard to find cracks. Number 8, Cole, we may finish it off right here with this one and just kind of run through quickly our 9 through 16. I got Michigan State as my 8th-seeded team left in this thing. Can you believe this? 28 consecutive years in this tournament. We have Polos who have come up in a world where Tom Izzo has had this team in the tournament every single year of their lives.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, you can't count them out. I didn't think they'd be from this year's team. I didn't think they'd be making a deep run. And once again, it's kind of like Tom Izzo does what Tom Izzo can do in a year and prove a lot of people wrong. They're a good team, and the consistency, they know how to win. It's a great system. He's a system guy, and you can't count him out. Cannot count him out.
Yeah, I think if they face a team that's really good at getting back on defense and forcing them into a half court, Michigan State could struggle, but I still like him as one of the 8 best seeds still in this thing. As time runs out, Cole, we'll just list off the teams from 9 through 16, see what you think about my back half. I got Arkansas. I don't like the way that sounded. Let's not say it that way.
I like that. I like it.
Half of my seeding list, see what Cole thinks about that. I got Arkansas at 9, Tennessee at 10, Illinois 11, Alabama 12, Nebraska 13, Iowa 14, Iowa State 15, and Texas in as my 16 seed. It feels disrespectful to put Texas in as a 16 seed considering what they've done. But considering what they've done and how they've beaten the odds all the way to this point, I bet you Texas, they thrive. They love being in that 16 seed. They want to be counted out of the teams that are left in this thing. They want to have that chip on their shoulder.
They do. You can't count them out. I like it. It's just a hard thing to do when you talk about these teams reseeding. They're all good.
They are. We're live here at Ingalls Markets at 10903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. I think, Cole, we haven't had a sighting of Melissa Level yet. We might be doing Melissa's Moment in the next segment of the show. We may have to do a little switcheroo and move her to a little bit later on in the show. We'll just have to wait and see if she walks through. So a little bit of a question mark coming up in the next segment.
I believe in her. I think she'll be there.
Right here at Eagles Market for the Fan Upstate.